About 10 years ago, I booked a gig for $9,000. And I thought that was so much money, I could never do that again. And then I just booked a show for 10 grand, and it was not a big deal. So what changed? Hey everybody, welcome to Music City Mondays. It is episode 8 in a 3-part series of how to book a gig, and specifically today we're talking about asking for the money. Music City Mondays is a weekly video series where I throw out success nuggets, things that are working for me in this business, hoping that you might grab 1 or 2 of these to give you an idea of something that will work for you. So, beginning of last week's episode, I said, if you grew up in a household where it's not polite to talk about money, we don't talk about money, that's going to be a problem. You've got some things in your background that will probably cause you to not ask for what you're worth, maybe not get paid for what you're worth. We're going to talk about that today. First of all, in terms of booking a gig, one of my first jobs out of college was working at a drum shop. I worked there for a couple of years, and then I went to the other side of the table. I started working at a drum company where I was calling on drum shops and calling on music stores. I'll never forget the first day I showed up. This was a sales gig. The guy sitting next to me in the office next to me in Minneapolis, where I was, he said, all of these music stores, they already have a budget. They're going to spend money with somebody. They need to get gear into their music store, their drum shop. They're going to spend it with somebody. So it's your job to go in there and get a piece of it because they're already going to spend it. And just knowing that helped with my money concept, because it wasn't like I was asking them to pull money out of their pocket, their own personal finances. They already had a budget. They need to buy things to keep their businesses afloat. So how does that apply to booking a gig at a club? Or I guess let's start with festivals, casinos. Those entities, again, they have a budget. They've raised the money. They might have sponsorships. However they get the money, they've got it. They're going to spend it. They need entertainment. They need good entertainment. If you've done your research, you believe that you could be a part of that entertainment, then go ahead and ask for it. Don't be shy to do so. Now, when it comes to clubs, especially the smaller clubs, these could be mom and pop operations. These are small businesses. If they have a couple of bad shows, if they pay too much for a band, they lose money a couple of nights, they could be out of business. So a couple of key questions that I like to ask to get an idea of what their budget could be. Ask for their capacity. How many people can they fit into the room? And especially now with pandemic, it's probably less. And then ask, what are your people used to paying at the door? What kind of cover charge? Are they used to paying $10, $20, 30, 40, 50 bucks if it's a national artist? What are they used to paying? Armed with those 2 pieces of information, you can get an idea of what the club should be paying, what you should be charging, because you don't want to put people out of business. Yes, you want to ask for what you're worth, but this isn't about dishonest swindling and just charging the very, very most that you possibly can squeeze out of people. There are booking agents that do that. You don't want to be somebody that does something like that. So I like to, a couple more open-ended questions besides those 2 to try to get an idea. They might share their budget. I also like to ask or kind of do a comparative thing. We usually make this kind of money, or in the summertime, or if it's a Saturday night, or this amount of distance from Nashville or wherever you happen to be. You throw out some information of gigs you have already booked. So that gives you a little bit of proof that you're worth this much because you're getting paid. That's really effective, and it puts everybody's defenses down because you're not making it up. You're speaking fact, and the club owner, if they have any experience, they probably are aware of the particular club you're talking about. Okay, that makes sense. That, it's just an easy way to talk about it. So, when it comes to your concept of money and what you're worth, as a songwriter, as a musician, as an artist, be thinking about the time you invested into your craft, thinking about the commitment that you've made, the background that you've had, the fan reaction. When you go out and play a show, do you make a difference in people's lives? Do they enjoy the music? What kind of comments are they giving you? When you play a club, are you ringing the cash register? Are people coming out? Are they attending? Are they having a couple beers? Do the clubs, the places you play, are they making money? If you know that information, you can be quite a bit more sure of what you're worth, that you should be asking for a certain amount of money. Now, having a money concept issue can also affect how much you're selling your merch for, if you're selling merch. I've been able to sell $20 CDs because I believe the artist was worth that, and they've got their autograph on it. So if you don't think your merch is worth that much and you're giving it away to your friends, or you don't believe that an autograph on the piece of merchandise increases the value, then again, go back, look at your background, look at what you've done, look at how you affect other people with your music. And that's going to affect that's going to bring up your money concept and what you're worth. Another thing I want you to keep in mind when it comes to the concept of money, you could be thinking about money in a scarcity mentality or an abundance mentality. A scarcity mentality is, man, there's just not enough money. Nobody's making any money. There's just not enough of it. I gotta scratch and claw for everything I can get. And sometimes I see that, if I ask somebody that I know is playing a particular place and they're not willing to divulge who books them in there, they want to keep that information to themselves. That's kind of a territorial thing, and that tells me that they're in a scarcity mindset. I got this gig, I worked hard to get this gig, I'm not sharing it with anyone else. So, the opposite of that would be an abundance mindset. There's enough work for everybody. There's enough money to go around. If we all help each other, we can all succeed. You've heard me say a couple times in these series, help folks get what they want. They will help you get what you want. You put this out. What goes around comes around. There's karma. There's all kinds of ways to think about it. But the abundance mentality versus the scarcity mentality, a good friend of mine, Adam Fears, great country singer, songwriter, he's a Texan, and one of his favorite phrases is, high tide floats everyone's boat. Now, I know he didn't make that up. That's a popular phrase. High tide floats everyone's boat. That is an abundance mentality. You can probably figure out by now which side of the equation I'm on. I'm doing these Music City Monday episodes, given of my time, because I want y'all to succeed. It might come back to me in some form or fashion, but so many people have helped me in this town, in Music City, that I just want to give something back if this information can be helpful. Quick thing, and then we got to get out of here. I worked on my own money concept, as I said at the top of this episode. I booked a $9,000 gig years ago, and I thought, man, how am I ever going to do that again? That's just so much money than I've ever booked before. And then I started working with another artist recently. His low-end show is 10 grand. He normally makes 25 to 40 grand. For him, 10 grand is low money. Once I knew that, it's like, 10 grand is low money. Within a week or two, I booked a $10,000 gig. Changed my money concept. Mindset, people. You're worth it. You're in this business. Go ahead and ask for the money. Have a good time here. Music City 101. We'll see you next week.